Good afternoon. Thanks for coming to one of the last sessions before you get watered and fed. I've got Luca Graf here with me today from MS Direct. And given it's late in the afternoon and we're talking about cross-border fulfillment, we're going to try and make cross-border fulfillment sexy again. Right, so Luca, you've been working with retailers like Mango, Mr. Specs, Tommen. You've got a deep background in cross-border logistics. You spent some time investigating some very interesting topics in cross-border and how to make it more efficient and more consumer-friendly. So do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and about the research that you've conducted?
Of course, happy to do so. So hello everyone, and thanks for being at our presentation. So my name is Luca Graf. I'm the CEO of MS Direct. MS Direct, maybe to introduce you to that. So what we do very briefly, and then we dip into the study. So we are an e-commerce logistics service provider. We are fully dedicated on e-commerce services. On the one hand, we do fulfillment solutions, so classical warehousing, order management, pick and pack that we do in Switzerland and Austria. We also offer digital solutions, WMS and omni-channel management solutions. But the main reason why I'm here and also what I would like to share with you is about our cross-border product, not our product, but let's say the study we made around the cross-border logistics. We are focused on customs borders. This is usually where, of course, the biggest pain is and where usually merchants are hesitating to dip in. We offer services in that regards, from the fiscal representation towards the transportation, towards export-import clearance, local return management, all the services you need to successfully ship cross-border, particularly to the UK, Switzerland and Norway. For that reason, we have, of course, several locations, particularly located around these countries where you have the cross-border operations and the customs border. And a number of customers already rely on our services. We have a strong footprint in fashion, but we also work in the furniture, cosmetics, electronic business with customers, particularly on the cross-border services. So now, speaking about the third countries, why do we think that these countries are so attractive also for you? So let's talk about Switzerland. As we know, it's quite a wealthy country and people spend quite a lot. They also spend a lot online. So it's also a country located quite in the center of Europe, so reachable from many directions and your warehouses. And particularly interesting is also that next year the industrial duties will be removed. That means that you still have to declare things when you shipped over the border. You have to declare, but you don't have to pay duties. That means, of course, that for you, the overall sale is even more attractive. You save on these duties, and the market should be even more attractive for you. On the other side, UK, of course, we know the biggest e-commerce market in Europe. People also like to shop online, and people shop a lot from also international merchants. They are used to cross-border. But what's the hassle usually behind that? It's because of the customs border. You need to declare, you need to have your data ready. The data should be correct, otherwise you get fined. If you don't have an automatic digital process, you need to issue paper invoices. So it's a hassle, and we would like to give you more information what customers are expecting. So this is why we have done a post-purchase experience study. So we looked at the time of the purchase and after what you are getting, particularly from local merchants. Because if you are in a merchant not based in these countries yet, you don't ship to these countries, of course you compete against the merchants from the local markets, and you must be at eyes level with these local merchants in order to be successful. So we have asked, so what you will get now in the next minutes, and that's a discussion topic by topic, we would like to involve also you, what local customers expect in these countries, how long does delivery take, what is the deal with the shipment costs, what is the deal with the return costs. So we did some mystery shopping. In roughly 50 shops in Switzerland and the UK. and we spent on average 100 Swiss francs, so equal to 100 euro. And we went through the whole process and looked at the customer experience, particularly what the consumers are experiencing. So first topic I want to share with you is about delivery time. And here you see that's the results for Switzerland, and we compare it between what local merchants are offering. So the ones in blue are the local ones, and the ones in red are the ones we shopped at who are shipping internationally from international. And you see, of course, that the delivery time is quite different. And let's say the benchmark is definitely here, between 1 and 3 days. This is where you have to, that's what the customer expect and what you should also achieve with a cross-border product.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, one of the observations, obviously, on next day delivery, you're talking about hyper premium merchants, high value products, probably high margin products. They can afford to have a bit of absorbed cost when it comes to delivery. But the further down the chain that you move, lower basket values. Clearly, there's some very, very large deltas, particularly when you start talking about some of the lower value merchants for cross-border transactions. What do you think is driving that delta between, say, 4 days and 12 or 13, 14 days? That's quite a big difference.
Yeah, that's quite a difference, and of course it's the distance, and it's particularly the customs border. But if you, let's say, manage that effectively, and I of course tell you also how, then you can be at eyes level of the local merchants. So of course it depends how distant the warehouse is located. But let's say if you handle the whole process very digitally, you get the data in advance, you process the data in advance, and of course you don't have to drive that far, let's say 500 kilometers, you can still manage to deliver the next day. So we have clients where we have a cutover time in the morning, we receive all data, the truck is driving to the border, it goes through the border seamlessly, it delivers to the hub of the local carrier, and the local carrier delivers the next day. So this is possible even across a customs border, depending how the process is, and depending, of course, what is the distance between the central warehouse and the country, in that case, Switzerland.
Thank you. And you're talking about digitizing some very specific documents, some very specific parts of that process.
Yep.
It's a race to the bottom. It's lowest common denominator. So where do you see that the merchants are going wrong? Where does it get stuck?
It's often about the data and the data quality. Of course, what we need to process the customs is, of course, a detailed description from the weight to the size, then, of course, to tariff codes. And we have built solutions, algorithms that translate automatically the tariff codes. We check with you before we start with the shipment in general. Through the onboarding process, we check the data quality, what needs to be changed. Of course, then we have customs manager who can also then manually interfere if something in the declaration is missing. So we make sure from the beginning that the process goes right, but of course during the transport that the truck is either not stopped at the border, or there won't be, let's say, a check where you get a fine, but you can then seamlessly deliver that across the border.
And how many sets of documentation is now required at the UK border to tick? How many boxes need to be ticked for an effective experience?
Now you challenge me, huh?
Yeah?
So I'm not so much in the details.
Sure. But approximately 5 separate sets of documentation, probably something.
Niels, can you help me out?
Nature.
Thumbs up.
There you go. That was a guess, by the way.
Yeah, okay,
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Very good, Darko.
No worries.
I have also the data for the UK for you, and here you only see so far the local merchants, but you see even among a local merchant even takes 5 days to ship goods within the UK. And I guess, to be honest, when it comes to the UK and how they're spoiled, so this is definitely the benchmark the next day, what you have to achieve. And of course, do it at cross-border, that's a challenge, but it's even also doable. Yeah. So if you prepare everything at hand, if it's not too distant, driving, for instance, from Germany towards the UK during the day, hand it over in the evening to the local carrier and deliver the next day, it's possible. Yeah.
the mission for the European-based clients that you're servicing is that the receiving parties on the other side have pretty much a seamless experience, as in it's as though they're buying domestically. That's
Exactly.
that's the mission.
And maybe let's come to the other topic. It's about the additional costs. So a consumer expects not to have additional costs, of course, when they receive a parcel from abroad. That refers to the customs duties. And we made in the study, we understood that everyone had this kind of under control. So they were shipping DDP, all taxes and duties included. But what they don't have really under control yet, or some of them, they have no local return address. And that's also very vital. I know it from my own experience. When I have to ship something back, I'm living in Switzerland, I have to ship something back to Sweden. Imagine the cost you have to pay to do the shipment. Then you have to take care also about the declaration. At the end, you would like to have your duties back. Yeah, you paid to the merchant. So that's nothing you as a consumer want to go through. So actually, I recommend everyone to have a solution with a local return address. And that you can ship without, let's say, additional costs or at the benchmark about return shipping costs. We come to that later. Some findings about the UK. Remember, so far we only checked on merchants, on local merchants in the UK. So we can't compare between a cross-border experience and what the UK merchants are doing. But here, at least you see that it's of course all probably solved. Do we like to go back to that, or shall we?
I think maybe we'll pause for a second and offer the audience an opportunity to make any comments or ask any questions specifically related to the first 2 points. I dare you to ask a question. There you go. There's a brave soul. Microphone. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes, my name is Shashank, and I just wanted to know how accurate the data is. Basically, if you are ordering something, it really depends on the day and time of the ordering, right? So is your data sure that you ordered every product on the same, let's say on Monday of every week, so that you have exact accurate data of the supplier's performance, like the merchant's performance?
There's been a bit of interference. You might just
I think I have the wrong channel here.
Okay, it's channel 1, I think.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry now.
Please ask the question again, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So in order to estimate the average delivery time to the UK market and to the Switzerland market, you need to order a product at a particular time of the day, basically. So let's say an example of Monday. So every Monday you order with one merchant, then you can exactly know how a merchant is going to process. Because if you order with one merchant on Monday and one merchant on Tuesday, then delivery times and everything is going to matter. So is that something you faced when you're doing the research, or?
We didn't go into that detail. Yeah, at the end, it's a question of a cut-over time, and then of course you can project that when it's on a Friday. Of course, you can't deliver on a Saturday maybe, but you deliver it on a Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, but if it's at the beginning of a week, usually depending on what we find out, what is the optimized process behind, so we can make it feasible to deliver within 1 or 2 days to compete against the local merchants. Yeah.
You good? Thank you for the question from the brave soul in the white shirt. Any other questions or comments regarding challenges on cross-border commerce into the UK in a post-Brexit reality? Gentleman over there.
Hi, thank you. Jacques Muller. I was wondering if excise is treated the same as the duties. So we ship alcohol, so I was wondering if next to the duty processing, it goes for excise as well.
Okay, alcohol. I'm watching at my colleague again, but he's busy in another call. Niels. what about alcohol and special requirements to that?
You have special requirements for alcohol. In these terms, every case is different actually.
Yeah.
Depends only on the volume. Exactly. So
If you don't mind, we would maybe we can talk after the
that's a good
event
idea.
and evaluate together.
Let's do that. Yeah, thank you.
I think what the colleague was saying is that it depends on the quantities and the source of the product, but yeah, possibly some good commentary there afterwards. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments before we move on a little bit onto returns? Any other brave souls? I'll buy you a beer afterwards. No? Okay. Should we move on to maybe point 3?
Yeah, so the third topic is about returns, and we measured different things. Yeah. So first, how many days usually the merchants are giving the consumers to return, and that's quite different. You see it's up to a year even, but the average, let's say, I would say, is 14 days for Switzerland, and sometimes it's 30 days. Yeah. A bit same picture for the UK. So I hear the average is 30 days. Yeah, something to consider if you want to be again on ice level with the local merchants. We also looked at how easy it is to return. So on the one hand, can you close the box easily so you don't even need a scotch? So maybe you know the boxes from Zalando. So there's a scotch in it, kind of, and you can close them without needing a special tape. Then the question was also, do the merchants have included the return label already? So you don't have to print anything, but again, you make it very easy. So here you see that actually only 35% of the merchants we looked at, 50, remember there were 50 merchants kind of included the label. So it's not yet fully common practice. Of course, behind that is also reasoning, how easy you want to make it. And of course, often you would like to have some data about the reason why to return, and that usually you get maybe better if you go online and require that information, and without that you don't get a label. Here also some insights about the UK. So mostly they ask for a reason you should give or have to give to return, and and only very few included a label in their parcel. Now comes another interesting topic. I think that's a highly relevant and political topic. It so should be returns free or not? Yeah. So what is good for the business? What's good for the environment? What's good for educating the consumer, kind of, and it varies a lot. Yeah, there are of course still a bunch in Switzerland of the big merchants offering free returns. They believe it's a USP, and you have others who ask something or who started to ask something for it. So I think it's a question maybe of conversion. You have to answer for yourself. For the UK, mostly I would say it's free returns. So only a few charge for it at the moment of the local merchants. And then a very interesting topic, and unfortunately I have the data at the moment only for the UK, because actually we have done the study recently, and we are still sending the returns back and wait for the refunds. So this is also very important questions usually for the consumer, how many days it takes to get my money back. And you see here in the case of several merchants, it took only a few time. Why? Of course, these are local merchants. So you ship back to a local address, they process, and maybe basically to the central warehouse, and they process that quite quickly. But when it comes to cross-border e-commerce, so important first is, I think, to have a local return address, and secondly, to ask your provider of choice to also, let's say, do some checks in order to relieve the customer. Because, for instance, you can ask us to only scan the box in order it has arrived, but it doesn't say anything about is the article in. Of course, then we need to open. This we can do as well. We can also check the article about scratches, dirt or whatever on it, and only then, of course, it's maybe for you are ready then to release the customer and give the money back. But that's also, I think, a quite important experience that usually many consumers expect, like from local merchants, to get their money back quickly.
Fantastic. One interesting thing that the people we've been talking about today, particularly UK merchants, apparel merchants, is effectively abuse of returns. So make something too easy, people buy the items, return them straight away. And right now in a margin constrained environment where, let's say, e-com's dipping for the first time in maybe 10 years, post-COVID effect, they're almost talking about ways that they can choke returns or at least identify specific customers that, let's say, might be abusing privileges to an extent and are returning too many items or buying too many items and returning them. What do you see the trend in terms of potentially constraining some customers from abusing returns?
I think that the tendency is, if you've seen with Switzerland, that more and more are starting to charge for returns. What we also, when it comes to that topic, see that more and more try to relieve the customer as quickly as possible. So they ask for a process and get the, let's say, confirmation that they can relieve the customer. I think that's another trend when it comes to returns. Some merchants really ask to make them ready, make everything ready for sale already. So let's say if you have a partner locally who can do that, that it's not only the customer is relieved, but you can even enable the article again to be sold in the system right at the moment when it's, let's say, processed at the return partner. So you immediately know that something is again available for sale, this can be sold, and once it is back at your central warehouse, you can refulfill.
Refulfill it.
So I think these are a bit the tendencies, what we see.
Okay, interesting. So you think potentially charging for returns might be a way over time to mitigate some of that negative behavior?
I think it's a bit like how you say with the snake and the rabbit. Yeah. So I mean, who's doing what first, and how is the market behaving? And I think if more are doing that, then many will join. But
Sure.
As long as the big players are not doing it, you rather want to keep your conversion high and don't risk to lose your customer.
Sure. Okay. And on the inbound data flows, so when you're processing... Question? Please go ahead.
Turn. So that will credit the customer without physically sending the goods back, especially from a sustainability perspective. That seems to be the way forward for some of the retailers, especially with low value goods.
Yeah. So this we also noticed when you have low value goods, and it's at the end a decision of the customer service that they just say, hey, the cost of sending it back will be higher than what's the value of the article. Keep it or throw it away. So this is where sometimes with, as you said, with low value articles
or even low margin
policy.
Yeah, we just did an exercise. I know that my returns from Portugal cost me €37. So sometimes I make the decision not to take them back because it's just too expensive.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Makes sense. Please go ahead.
Did you do any checks or investigation of how many consumers were prepared to do the first mile or expect endpoint pickup?
Okay. No, we didn't go into that detail. So you mean about if the customer is ready to bring it or if they expected it's picked up, kind of? No, I mean, at the end, we didn't do customer polls here, but we checked the experience like we would receive it, like we are the consumer. So we measured the, let's say, days of duration, etc. But we didn't do any customer polls yet, what they are ready to do so.
Yeah.
I want to finish off.
No, we can hear you.
So did you go to the place to drop it off, or did you get it picked up? when you were doing the research?
Good question. I don't know what you've been doing. I think it depends a bit on the common practice of each market. Yeah. So in Switzerland, pickup is not really common practice, but I think it's important that you work with local carriers, so that kind of the local post office is around the corner, or where you can drop off your parcel. I think that's the most common approach in Switzerland. And in the UK, I don't know so much. Do you know that, Niels? But of course, we could advise you asking our colleagues in the UK what's the right approach. I don't know it yet.
Any more questions from any brave souls?
Yeah. If you let me summarize what I believe is important, what you need to deliver as an experience to your customer is, first, it's about the speed of delivery. So I think when you deliver cross-border, it needs to be there 2 to 3 days at the consumer. Then, of course, no hidden fees. Everything should be included. No bad surprises. It should be, again, a feeling like someone would receive a parcel from a local merchant. You should use local carriers, because that's what people usually know the best in the countries. So not kind of with the integrators, UPS, FedEx, but really with the local carriers. And you need to have a solution in place for local returns. That's definitely the benchmark. And in order to make some promotion about our solution, we can help you with that, of course. So let's say with one integration towards your system, be it CSV file upload, or be it API connection or integration into marketplaces or shopping systems, we can deliver, let's say, all that promises when it comes to transportation, the fiscal representation, the customs clearance, of course, and the returns handling. And we can do that for all 3 countries where you have a hassle, usually in Europe, the UK, Switzerland, and Norway. And there's a little movie about our new platform, how to manage the whole thing. So you will get a lot of transparency and reporting linked to that, because you would apparently like to know
we help you to
where
manage
your
your
goods are,
shipments. We let you create,
shipment
edit,
is in the
and especially
customs
keep track of
process.
all your outbound shipments.
If the article has been already handled in the returns department. So that's what we also believe is important.
All your documents in one place.
To have
Access
more
all custom
transparency,
papers,
analytics, and reporting
forms
into
and
the process.
documents, paperless and audit proof. Quick and easy returns. We handle your customers' returns and take care in case anything goes wrong. We provide you with smart reports. Keep track of your key performance indicators and grow your business with data-driven insights. Intuitive onboarding. With our step-by-step onboarding and the support of your success manager, you are ready to go in no time. Let the shipments begin.
Yes, the summary. What this tool does, it digitizes the whole onboarding process and supports you in that all documents are ready. As I said, that we go through and check the data, validate it, make a test, upload the necessary documents, etc. And the portal gives you then also the transparency into your shipments. You will find your documents for a long period there, what you need to show to customs if there might be any checks in future, and it gives you comprehensive reporting. So that's hopefully a way to manage your cross-border customs services, and that it should be as hassle-free for the consumer as for you.
Excellent. Any specific questions related to MS Direct or the business in general, or for Luca? As related? No? Very good. Should we call it a day? You think? That was fantastic. I think my biggest observation, simply put, as domestic markets are getting more and more, let's say, squeezed over the next 12 months, relative spend of wallet, cross-border is clearly going to become much more important in terms of accessing foreign markets for local retailers. So I imagine offering that level of local servicing is going to be very, very important for retailers to consider in cross-border markets. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing some wisdom with us today. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Darko.
it.
Thank you to you. And if you any questions, let me know then. Huh? Thank you.